Today, I want to talk to you about a very important subject inside your portfolio page, and that is the UX case study page. What is a case study in UX design? It's a presentation that goes into a greater depth and detail about a specific project. It follows a structured format with sections like problem statement, user research methods, how you gained insights, what challenges have you faced, what design solutions have you provided, and the impact of your work. It basically helps recruiters like UX managers and senior UX designers to make a clear understanding of your design thought process and your design thinking. So if you want to start an internship and get hired by a company or even start a UX design career, you have to treat the case study page very, very carefully. And in a couple of minutes, we will be looking at my UX design examples and how I tackled a problem and what steps did I use in order to get to a solution. So you will be receiving this design file for free in Figma, the front page and the UX case study page all together for free for you. So make sure you watch it till the very end. And without further details, I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Thank you. Okay, guys, so let me refresh a bit your memory. This is what I created a couple of weeks ago. This is the front page of a portfolio with this young fellow that he is a UX designer. And we have here a hero section, his problem solving approach, a few things about him, a few things that he believes in, mantra, something like that, his services, some facts, and the case studies, and a call to action that redirects the user to the full page, some testimonials, and the footer. And now we will concentrate on the UX case study page. So this is the most important page in a portfolio, and without further details, let's see what this is all about. So as you can see here, I started out with the hero section. Now this is a very important thing because this is the first impression. So what I did here, I add a span title here that is a UX case study. This is my title, my H1, and this is the name of the digital product that you've worked. And in one sentence, you want to be able to explain to your audience what this digital product does and how it can improve people's lives. So this is a finance mobile app that helps people take control of their finance with confidence and break free from the paycheck to paycheck cycle, because this is the problem that we're gonna tackle, and this is a common problem even nowadays in late 2023. And what I did here, you want to add a unique selling proposition, and that explains very well. So take your time, ask ChatGPT to come up with a description that is very self-explanatory. You see here that I created some variations. This is a hero that is, the direction is down. I added a hero that is dark. You can come up with different variations, and you can come up with light on the horizontal direction, but I like this one the most because it's very simple and very minimalist, and I used some mobile screens mockup that are vertically aligned. You don't want to use any oblique mockups because the recruiters will have a far hard time in figuring out on what you designed. So keep it simple, keep it self-explanatory, keep it usable, and in the meantime add a bit of creativity. So keep it simple, and because this hero section should evoke a positive spark, a positive atmosphere, and make it clear. So this is a UI kit that I sold on my website here, and it gave me a lot of sales. And what I did here is I took this one and improve it. So this is the one that I took and I address it in this video. So I did something different. I draped it in another style, but basically this is the main subject here. So today I will address this in a UX case study page. So let's isolate this into the presentation. You can click here on display and we're going to isolate this. So again, span H1, a paragraph that explains very well. Keep it simple with add some mobile screens, some visuals here. And below, you should explain your role here. What were your responsibility? In our case, in my case, I did user research, competitor analysis, wireframe, prototype, collect, refine feedback, and the design solution. I did not perform user testing because this is just an example, and maybe I will do usability testing video later, maybe in the by the beginning of 2024. If you want, please tell me in your comments. The deliverables. You should explain to your audience that first your responsibilities, the deliverables, iOS or Android app design you provided the client or the where you worked in the company, instructions on how to use, style guide for front-end devs. You want to make sure that people know that you are in charge, that you can provide, that you are there for developers, then don't let developers make design decisions on their own. So make sure you show that you are a pro. Important aspects: the deadline, look, usable, fun, and easy to use, user level. So the people that are going to use this app will be non-tech savvy people. So make sure this is very usable. And the first release should be a minimum viable product with some basic features for this release. So make sure you include all these aspects here. Make sure you are telling a clear story. So storytelling is important. Make sure this is cursive and you combine the functionality with creativity. So you don't have to be boring. Now, we're going to start off with the problem area. What is the problem people face? In our case, they have a hard time finding money leftovers because unexpected monthly expenses arise and they feel like living paycheck to paycheck. This situation occur because they don't have a budget that make them aware where their money goes. The challenge is to find the most common problems, the commonalities, and come up with the design solutions around these. Okay, we're moving on with the first phase, that is the user research, gaining insights. So you can add here a title that says when gathering insight, it's important to put aside your own opinions and accept what you hear and see. Here were my sources. In when dealing with financial problems, you have to talk with experts in this field, like financial advisors. Talk to them, take notes, talk to them, see, because they talk with a lot of people that make credits. So you have to talk with psychologists because emotional spending is a part of our lives. We are human. We are humans after all, and we have to take care of the psychological part. I did some user interviews where I talked and observed and listened to what potential users said. I I checked out forums like Quora and Reddit and search for financial groups and see what people are talked about there. Okay, so in our UX case study page, I decided to put here the contextual interviews. So in our case, in my case, took I did take the interviews for 4 people. You can take up to 5 and you can ask something like 10 questions, I think would be enough, or 15. I think keep it something like 7 to 15 is more than enough. So I took an interview to my wife. my lovely wife, to some barista where I worked in a coffee shop, to some front-end developers that she's a friend of mine, and a programmer that he is also a friend of mine. So you see here I use some tabs where you can navigate through each user and see the questions and the responses. You can add a button here, you can load more questions. And in this example, the interview can take two paths, one from people that cannot put money on side and the challenges they're facing. And might be some of your users, when you did your interview, that they can put money on side. And usually the interview should have another questions for these guys. Okay. Okay, so moving on, you gain your insights, and this is very short, very brief. I want you to understand. So I want you to create something similar to what I did. So this is the point of view section where you kind of like build your persona. I did not add the persona here, but I created some user scenario. So single or married people between 25 and 60 years old have hard time finding leftover money these days. So this is my public audience. This is the my users that are going to use this app. So this is a user scenario, a real situation in our lives. So after receiving the monthly salary, a young woman attentively begins allocating funds to cover her immediate obligations. But unexpected, the tour comes up and she suddenly discovers that her car broke up, so uh, her dreams are quite vanished. So it's very hard to put money on site nowadays. We're all facing some problems, so you have to put together and come up with some solutions. So these are the top common problems people face. I noted them down, and based on these findings, uh, I created the user flows. But before that, I analyzed some competitors in the market. So I went to Google Play and analyzed top finance apps, mobile apps in the market. And I noted down their pain points, what users said, and nice to have some strong points. On YNAB, they enjoy the simplicity but cannot connect to bank account, which is very frustrating. No weekly monthly expenses view. On Mint, no cursor placement in new box. Some users said that they want to edit their transactions. um, Graphs never update on cash and credit cards. Transactions view only on the past few weeks, so they don't have the flexibility to narrow down to some years view or 6 months view. So these are some powerful findings that you have to search and have to come up with some improvements for your app. These are real insights, I believe. Unable to edit labels, lazy loading time, no way to exclude future transactions from your reports. Nice to have pie charts showing where spending goes. Okay, so I leave it to you. You can read. Let's move on to the next ideas. So after you define the problem, after you perform user research, after you gather all the commonalities, the most important problems, and you analyzed your competitors, it's time to sketch your first ideas on paper. So what I did here is what I taught at that time a few years ago, how to add a transaction. Well, you see here is a budget, you don't have any transaction, add one, select a category, and after that insert the amount that you spent, save, then this is the transaction details. Okay, so you have to let your imagination come up, and you may gather with your team and come up with solutions, pass it through each one. improve it, brainstorm. So it's very important to let your creativity at work. After that, I did some mind mapping to produce some ideas, functionality, but without constraints. So, based on the problems that I found, I decided to create the flows: onboarding, link bank account, pay myself first, define categories, import transactions, create saving goals, and assign money. For this MVP, I think this is enough. And you can see here that if you want to gather data about your users, you can go deep and analyze and ask them the list of his main reasons of why he cannot save money, what is his objectives, why they want to raise they want to put money on side, and you find some useful insights here. And based on these ones, you can give them tips, you can allow them to stay uh, faithful on their objectives by sending important tips, messages that encourage them. So you can be creative. You can look on other apps, on finance apps, on websites like Mobin, and you find some useful insights. We're living in 2023, and the resources are spectacular, are very generous. After that, you can create some wireframes, low fidelity. You can gather the reports. You can see what is the spending, how many, what is the net revenue, how many accounts do you have, best savings month, highest expense month, lowest, worst month, recent transactions, my budget, how many categories I defined. So you can come up with different ideas. And what I did here in the past is that I added transactions manually. Well, this was good because by that time, let this makes people aware of every transaction by adding manually. Well, this is okay, but a lot of time was spent adding these ones by hand. And the drawbacks is that people couldn't find here their categories, so it's very hard to swipe, and a lot of back and forth process was involved. And they can add here, let's say, education. They should tap here on this amount and add it their amount, and after that add, and this is the transaction detail page. So this wasn't very intuitive, but 3 or 4 years ago when I did this UI kit, I thought that this will work well. Well, it did work well, but the improvements here that I added transaction automatically, it was definitely a game changer. So the time was reduced by 70% because all the transactions come from my bank account. So I linked my account to my bank account, and I importing the transactions automatically. And when I tap on the transactions detail pay screen, I saw that three transactions are expected to assign. So this were, and tap on each one and choose the category, and I assign this Starbucks to my coffee category, and I assign, import and save, and that's it. So it's more usable, it's more intuitive, the time was reduced. Another aspect that was a very good improvement for my app is that I included the tip of the day. So this particular feature gave people confidence when they fell down. Sales increased by 20%. Customers who bought the kit just wrote me and they say that this is very well executed. I not brag myself, but this is what I received from people because I tried to involve and to insert the psychological feature. You may know how to put money on side. You may have a list, you may have a budget, but if you don't have a clear objective on why you want to save money, and if you don't know the major problems people face, because eating out is a problem, you may gather with your friends and eat at home. This reduces a lot of costs. So giving these daily tips to users really encourage them to stay on track, and this is very, very helpful. And finally, and you can add more of these facts, more on this, more of these impacts that helps recruiters understand the way you work and how you improved the product and how you help the business. So this is the design solution. I added here tabs which with each user flow, and the recruiters can navigate here and see what are the mobile screens tied to that particular flow. So connect to bank, link to bank. So this is the connect to bank user flow. You see here that you can link to bank in order to connect to your bank, allow a location because we want to display to the user, to display him the local banks in his area, search, and he chose ING, enter his credentials, selects his account, and that's it. He is connected to his bank account, and he added his accounts, and now he has a clear overview and an accurate view of his money. See the prototype footer. What I would add here would be the related projects, some lesson I learned, some usability tests, and but I will address this if you want by the beginning of 2024, because we are in December right now. Okay, guys, so that's it. That is my UX case study page that I would create to my portfolio. You will receive these two artboards for free in Figma, and you can inspire and you can create something similar. Just use your own app, just use your own images, your brand, change colors, and you are good to go. Okay, so what are the things that I want to talk to you about when if you want to send the recruiters, let's say you apply for a job and you want to send recruiters your portfolio. Make sure you use platforms where they don't require to create an account on that platform in order to see your portfolio. I think you should keep it simple. Export this file to PDF, upload it on your Google Drive, and send the link to recruiters, and make sure they have access. Use websites like Dribble. Dribble don't require to create an account for other people in order to see your portfolio. Your own website is the best choice that you can go on with. I think on Behance, Adobe requires for sign up, so Adobe again. You know that I don't quite like this company. They bought Figma. I am very upset. So make sure you add. So how many use cases should you add in order to get hired? Well, I think there are no wrong or right answers here. You can go with two if you have only two use cases, but if you explain it very well, if you did your homework and go into a deeper analysis and you provide all that aspects, you can, two is enough. Okay, so what else should I tell you? What are some important facts? Well, let's see what is the difference between a US case study and a portfolio, a regular portfolio, because we keep seeing portfolios that don't include US case studies. Okay, so this is Jill Hybrecht from Dribble. This is a very, very talented designer that I followed many years ago and I inspired from his work. But Jill here is a project that he worked, and this clearly indicates that this is a regular project portfolio page. Jill is clearly indicates from this um, from his portfolio that he is only a UI designer. Of course, he might be a UX designer, but the way he presented his work here is through visuals. So this is a more concise presentation. He also provided some information about the client, the year, the services that he provided. But this, I want to be clear here and make a good distinction. This is not a use case study. This is a design project in your portfolio that clearly explained that he gained some client work, some freelance work, and he worked with some client that needed a refresh. And the aesthetic part is very important. And these people are not some tech savvy and they're not looking for research, but he might created the research part. He took care of that, but this is not a UX case study. So this is a UX case study. You should search and get your inspiration from sites like Cofolios. So I strongly recommend, guys, check it out. Check this website out and see here. These are interns from companies like Apple, Meta, Google, Microsoft, and you can click here and you can see how other people approaches and what are their approaches when it comes to UX case studies. So here Kelly Hu did a wonderful job in explaining how she created some shortcuts in Instagram. So you see here how detailed Kelly went into explaining her process here. His Her role, timeline, team, skills, tools that he used, project overview, some visuals, some GIFs, animated GIFs that gives a lot of creativity. See here what's the background, the content, emerging problem. So you see, she provided a very useful uh, data, the facts, what are the problems, begin with research, competitive audit, pain points, competitive analysis. So something like I did, but I think this is even better, is more detailed. So get your source of inspiration from here. I will leave the link in the description, guys. Make sure it's all about the users, is all about you design the whole thing around the user. So your UX case studies should be human-centered, focused. Make sure you don't overcomplicate things out by providing all the details, all the research, many research methods, many ideate methods. It's better to be complex than simple, but try not to make it too much complex. So make sure you keep it simple and creative. I think you should add some powerful visualizations like prototyping, like screens, like Kelly did here. So Kelly, wherever you are, you did a fantastic job. And I know that UX designers focus more on functionality. This is normal, but they are not quite creative. I don't want to sound critic here, but try to combine this because the visual part is also important. There are tons of websites that are not that good and you want to distinct yourself, so make sure the first impression matter and make sure you distinct yourself from this noisy world. So combine the functionality with aesthetics and you will have an amazing UX case study page. So basically what I did here, guys, is that I took this video and here I explain it the same app but in a much more detailed view. So you should check this video out because here I included all the details of the same UX case study page. So I will leave the link in the descriptions. Thank you for your attention, guys. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and if you have any questions, please leave in the comments. And without further details, thank you for your attention. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.